I just shot this whole video in vertical. Let's try this again. What's up, y'all? It's your girl Jess. I'm back with another video, and this one is very important. Y'all don't understand what we really go through out here, and it's a crazy game. It's a crazy world. It's a crazy life. I love Dossier, man, but this time I got candles. Now I get to fill my whole house in a beautiful form. Scents are half the price. Got amazing options. Use my code down below, get you some. As always, before I talk about any subject, I like to talk about my history a little bit, and then I like to get into the main topics of these videos. My history as a lesbian entertainer, videographer, entrepreneur, all these things has started way back, like way farther than you guys probably think. I was in the club, the strip club, the casinos, filming, shooting, being around the dancers, the hosts, all these things since I was like 16. And that started because my parents are entertainers, musicians. My dad plays bass, my mom's a singer and in wedding bands. My dad has a studio in his basement. And we always had people around us that were very talented and artistic as well. So I got to see a lot of the behind the scenes. I got to hear a lot of the conversations, and I got to be a part of a lot of things, just low key. I would just peep, I would just listen, I would just observe. I was in the casino shooting for multiple companies and just learning how it goes, learning the flow, learning the hustle and the bustle, learning the do's and the don'ts, and really just putting the work in, even though I wasn't very good, but a lot of the experience shaped me to be who I am today, and I'm very grateful for it. But it also showed me very dark and ugly sides of that. And I learned very quickly that the entertainment industry has very dark energy around it sometimes. Before I dive into everything in this video, you might consider it kind of negative and crazy, but I need you to understand that this isn't talked about. I'm doing this right now because a lot of people are talking and being a little bit more vulnerable about our experiences in this industry, celebrities on these podcasts and whatever, but nobody's talking about the queer stuff, the women who are doing these things and what we really go through. And you would think it would be better. You would think. It's really sad that that's not the case, because communities are supposed to be communities for a reason. We're supposed to have each other's backs, and we're supposed to combine and do things together. And I'm here to share and be real about my experiences without naming names and without being very specific, and just to be very general. So moving over time in my life from the East Coast to the West Coast to the East Coast, I did a lot of my own stuff with film. I never got into the actual industry. I just stayed doing entrepreneur work on purpose, because learning how the industry is in college, it honestly deterred me and scared me a lot, because I was like, I don't want this. If you can't be artistic and you gotta do what they tell you to do, and this is how it's done and that's the only way, I hate that shit. This is an art for me. This is my safe place. This is my pen and my paper. Like, this is how I create what I see in everyday life and how I'm able to highlight people. And that is why I really got into it, how I have gotten into it since about 2017, where I combined a lot of my talents and my purpose. And I wanna be a vessel in a way to like take my talents and to take these people that I know and to put it out there in ways that I know will grab people's attention. And I mean that in like the most wholesome way possible, because I love us and I love who I've worked with and I love all my clients. But there's so many ugly things that I've been through to get to this point, and I hate that, because I know I'm not alone, and I know that this is very, very common, especially in LA. LA sometimes isn't a real place. We all know, we all hear this all the time, but from someone who is a queer entrepreneur who's been living in this city for like over 9-10 years now, and really killing myself and hustling my way through, I've met almost every single influencer, any really big lesbian name out there. I've probably worked with them at this point. There's a lot of reasons why I don't work with a lot of people now, and why I look at a lot of these people differently than I have. Because I know a lot of you guys idolize a lot of these influencers and people out here who do make a lot of content. And I really just encourage you guys not to, even with me, because I am not this person that is like this glorified. I'm just a human person, and I've grown up very humane, and I've stayed very grounded in my knowing, in my being, on purpose, because there's no way I would be able to survive long term, because I know this and I've seen it firsthand, to get to a place where I feel fulfilled in this industry and still do it. And that's one thing I will say right off the bat, is that a lot of us will do things for the clout and do things quickly and do things for the clickbait and bust out content over and over and over just for the views. And who do you really have that supports you? Who do you really have that rides for you? Because the people that I know, and again, I won't name any names, but the people that we all know out here that are the bigger lesbian names in this industry, I know and I've seen down the line just struggle to have real happiness and fulfillment in their life, because they realize that their circle and their support gets smaller and smaller and smaller the more shallow they get with their content and their content creation. And that content creation and that support and that system, all of it can only last and work long term if everybody's on the same page as far as purpose and mission and energy and are in touch with reality instead of like this fake version of who they think they are or who they are acting to be and how they treat people that help them do these things. From someone who went from doing so many years behind the scenes, behind the camera, just being kind of like pushed to the side as just someone who's shooting it and not treated well at all. And that's something that a lot of people don't realize is a lot of us are not treated well at all. At all. Not considered for anything. Do you need water? Are you okay? We are pushed around in the club, especially masculine women, where you already are seen as like little boys. And when you're in straight clubs, you are shoved around and pushed and all these things. And then on top of that, you are treated very differently with every single client that you've ever been with. And you would think that the people that are in this industry that look like you and that you look up to would help you and be real with you, 9 times out of 10 won't. And someone who's gone through a lot of people, I'm very grateful that I have, because if I did not get fucked over by a lot of these people, I probably would have gotten hit a lot worse later down the line, financially, legally, whatever, where celebrities are dealing with things like this, and it's hard to watch. Because we talk about clout all the time. We say clout is a drug. We think like it's a little hee hee ha ha game. Clout is a real drug. Doing the most to go to places and do things just to show other people how much fun they're having, even though they're not. The longer and the further I get in this game, the more I do not be on my phone when I'm living a really good experience. Really started to get kind of resentful towards be that person that's always filming something. You want to experience something in real time, like say you're on a vacation somewhere beautiful, but you have to be glued to that camera for other people's experiences and not treated as well as the people in front of the camera. And I say these things lightly, but like, for example, I've been through many experiences when I first got into this game as an entrepreneur with my camera to really go into this with a mission and a purpose. Like I get to finally produce content, like really good content for those who need it. And then I'm treated like shit at the door. I have no time to set up. I'm rushed and I'm pushed. I'm trying to smile and just have good energy while I do it and also capture everything that I need to capture, even though the client barely gave me any direction and doesn't give a fuck about how I'm doing the entire time. And you just have to be like, I'm just here for the job, I'm just doing my job. And I think that's one of the hardest things about this. There's been so many times where I felt what I do is just not aligned with what I want. Because it gets old after a while. You realize that there's a lot more value to yourself than just being behind the camera. So getting into this, I did a lot of gigs for free, for exposure, for less than $100, even though it'd be like a 4-hour night. And I'd kill myself and then do a 1-minute edit, 2-minute edit for $100 that I never even got from some of your favorite people. It's hard to get over things like that even to this day, because you're like, that is nothing. And then you watch those same people flex. Like, look at my car, look at my house, look at... Some of your favorite lesbian influencers could barely pay me $100 to do a 20 to 30 minute blog edit for your enjoyment to view on YouTube. People don't even understand how much patience and attention to detail and time and killing yourself just slouched over on the computer, and how much your eyes burn and how tired you can be. All your personal stuff has to go behind you, and your personal time is sucked into somebody else's work. And then sometimes all they do is complain. They don't even say thank you. Sometimes it's just complaints, complaints, complaints. Here's what's wrong with it. There's no ounce of gratitude at all after slaving away for somebody's work, and then sometimes you have to redo the entire thing. It's the people that worked the hardest behind the scenes that get undermined and underpaid the most, which is the saddest fucking part about all of this and this industry. It goes from people like me who are entrepreneurs to people who are like PAs in the actual industry to people who are behind the cameras in the higher ups in the world. And I realized that this is not uncommon, which is the saddest part. A lot of us just take it. A lot of us are just like, I'll just do it just to have the experience. Your sense of worth and value are starting to like not align with your work. I had to learn over time that I can't just do things for $100. I can't just do things without contracts or just people's word and trusting people. Trust in LA has to go out of the door 9 times out of 10. When I know that I have a client and say it isn't done, on contract or without a deposit, I still will always do what you hired me for. Because there are a lot of videographers and photographers that I've heard that just take work and run with it. Never give clients their work. And I'm talking sexual assault. I'm talking things on that level. The worst part about entrepreneurship and the queer entertainment industry is there's no HR. There's no higher ups. There's no accountability for people's action in this industry. Like, people really can just get away with some really ugly things, especially physically ugly things. And a lot of us just have to take it and move on with that experience, because we all know nothing is really gonna happen here. I've gotten fucked over by a lot of lesbian influencers. These people literally live by this clout drug, this unrealistic version of them being like a higher up in this industry. Don't have to be accountable for a lot of things in their actions. And they can treat people like shit, and they can get away with a lot of things. You don't get to act like you're a god in this world and people ain't shit that are actually helping you and helping the machine that you are run, without the universe showing you like, hey, you really can't do this, and karma is a motherfucking bitch. And even in my personal life, I can name names and tell people and warn people of things like this, but I still let people experience these things for themselves, because my energy and my intuition never lies. I do not play about dark energy, weird energy, ill intent, treating people like shit. And that is something that is very, very common out here. I steer very far away from people that are also moving in this world in like a fake way, and just for the showing of the scene, and just for who I'm around and what I'm doing all the time, and looking happy even though your experience was mid. And we talk about this all day long, but this is real. This is so real. I will witness it in front of my face. Go out of their way to look their best, to go do something, to impress somebody that's never gonna notice them, to show people online that don't give a fuck about them. And then you think about all those things and you're like, for what? How do you feel now? Because a lot of those people that do that feel worse, feel more empty, feel less purposeful in life. I say it like that because it's hard to watch. It's hard to know that that's the reality for a lot of people. You're around it all the time and witnessing it like in real time, and it feels very dystopian, especially at LA parties that are all about content creation or celebrities or album release parties or whatever. You're just witnessing so many people live in a different reality through their screen of their phone as something that they don't even really want to be there for, and like don't even really enjoy the experience and live in the moment. And this just goes past the little events, the little parties. Like, I'm talking couples will get together on purpose for the sake of content creation and clout. Some couples aren't even real couples just to get a bag online. A lot of our personal well-being is jeopardized in this industry, which is really, really ugly to witness. And I have to really just fake it the rest of the time that I'm okay for the sake of everybody else. And nobody really talks about how much strength that takes to do that over and over and over again. And sometimes it's really hard to be in this industry for this long, because it's been like 7-8 years of doing queer women events and being more of a face and doing so many roles in this industry, and witnessing the emptiness within everybody. Because once you do this for a long time, you can really see how shallow and empty people are in these spaces, because we're all trying to just be happy for the moment, and we're all trying to just be okay. And a lot of times I think about my role in this industry and how much I've done as a sober person, because the only thing I do is smoke. I barely drink, and if I do, I never act out, and I never get to the point where I'm belligerent and I can't get myself home or whatever. I've never been to a point in all my life of being in the entertainment industry where I can't get home, where I've had someone to take me home. Nobody has my back like that in this industry, and I feel like I don't get any credit when it comes to that shit. Damn, I didn't think I would get emotional in this video. A lot of people around you have the excuse of getting this way because of alcohol and because of drugs, and you are the only person that really sees everything in such a clear light. The only person that has to view or remember things that were very ugly. And the strength that it takes to be a person in this industry who is constantly bombarded with roles and people and energy, you just like never get that credit and that appreciation from people to the fullest extent that you want to feel it sometimes, because you're just taking for granted that you will never get that way. You will never be that person. You're that rock for the people, for the companies, for the spaces. You're the person that always saves the moment or always captures the moment or is always there, always attentive, always paying attention. But who does that for you? And I know there's a lot of people out there like me, and I know that this is something that I'm not alone in, but it is rare. It is so rare for people like me out here to exist and to do what we do at this capacity without a lot of substances involved. And to have the strength to always leave it behind the door, to always be professional in every space, to always show up on time. I think that leads to the next point that I want to make is that there's so much joy in my life. There's so much beauty. There's so much love. There's so much personal experiences that I would just love to share with you guys, but I can't. It's really hard to swallow that reality, like the more that I get into this, because not only are like clients and people that you work with watching, which is like a whole nother thing, like especially when you're someone that handles people's projects or has to do things on time while also living life and having a personal life. I've talked to other influencers and photographers, and a lot of us share the same anxieties of like, we can't post and be real about what we're going through. Like even just simple things, like I went and got ice cream, I went to the grocery store, I went to the beach. Like sometimes I can't because I know so-and-so is waiting for their project and they're gonna be like, why are you doing this instead of on the computer? Or like, where's my work? And that's like a weird, anxious reality to live in and had to live in and for a very, very long time. I sometimes get sad that I'm like, damn, I would love to show people how happy I truly am and like the beautiful moments and funny moments I have, but I know that a lot of people are not gonna be happy to see that. It adds to the dystopianness of this society of social media and content creation, influencing, all that stuff. And on top of that, there's a lot of pressure to show like only the best parts of my life and like in a very calculated way to like not make anybody upset that was involved with this content or this timeline of how this happened. Just the freeness of your life is kind of lost. And the further you get down this line, you see why a lot of these influencers have to live this way and be this way. And you're forced to be extra private about a lot of things. So a lot of my love life is very, very private on purpose because I learned so quickly I cannot be posting like this. Way back when Instagram just became a thing, like I was on there all the time, and then I had a girlfriend, my first girlfriend, and I posted that right away, and I felt very unapologetic about being real about that. But then I quickly saw how toxic and unrealistic it can be. I'll never forget, like we just fought, like we just had this ugly ass fight and we're not even talking, and I'm over here typing and posting this happy picture of us on the beach, writing a love letter in the caption. And this was like way back, like way back. So like, don't come for me. That's the reality that a lot of us live in different scales. And it adds to the concept of like, if you don't see it, it doesn't exist. And then a lot of us feel invalidated in our experiences because like, oh, if I didn't go to the gym and post it, then did I really even go? And it's like, what? Then it puts so much value on people's perspectives and views when it never needs to be like that in the first place. And then again, that adds to the clout and the unrealistic lifestyle a lot of people live. Because you could look so happy online and you could look like you're living your best life. Like a lot of your favorite influences, a lot of your favorite people are one, not that person in real life, and two, do not have that much money and be flexing all the time, and they don't even pay people like me $100 to do a video. So that's why I've always have lived by this, trying to do these videos very raw, trying to just talk to the camera, because I never ever want to be that person that is being untruthful to you guys or doing anything that puts value on views and all these other things that aren't reality in my life. My life is very, very quiet and very, very peaceful and is very protected. And therefore I know if I want to keep that, I have to put that out. If I'm putting out bullshit, I'm gonna get bullshit in return in this reality. If I'm putting out fake shit just to get likes, then I'm gonna get fake people in my life to just get the instant gratification that comes with. And because of all these years of like emotional maturity and really grinding through the bullshit and seeing through the bullshit and then still continuing to be real and not like forming into these people, now I have to do a lot of the emotional labor for a lot of people who can't do that. There's been so many times where I've had to go down to a level of emotional understanding through people who are having emotional breakdowns or going crazy, who are lashing out, who have hit me to get them to calm down and to have a real conversation with a solution. What you would think, like as a boss, as someone who's running something, as someone who is curating a space, that should be your number one thing. It is not about bossing people around. It is about being a leader, being someone that people can look up to and depend on when it comes to these things. Of course, we're all gonna have our moments. Of course, we're women. Of course, we're gonna be emotional. But for me to exist in this way and to do this consistently and not really have a lot of these fuck ups at all, like it is very rare that you will find me breaking down, having a moment where I cannot go any longer. It's because I fully grasp that responsibility and knowing that it's not just about me. It is about everybody else, the space, respecting the space, being real for everybody else, and being available and being mature emotionally to find solutions and to collaborate with people in very important moments. A lot of event curation and backstage stuff, like a lot of things that people don't see when it comes to events and things like that, there's a lot of chaos sometimes. There's a lot happening, and to be someone that's like always informed and always making sure that everyone's good, and to witness that and to still stay strong and pull my emotions out of it and to be just very on the book to get through the night. Because as much as it sucks to suck it up for a couple hours, it's so important to have the ability to do that and to have that switch to turn on in those moments, because you know that like later when I'm home out of the space where I can have my personal time, I can do that. I can lean on someone, I can break down, whatever it needs to happen, I can do that. But I know right now I can't. To have that ability is rare for a lot of people out here, especially queer women. That also goes for social media and posting and all those things. A lot of us emotionally do things, unfollow, say ugly things, throw shade. Because of that instability in that moment where it's happening, you lash out in other ways where you don't realize that silence is the most important answer when it comes to being online with stuff like that. People will never know what a lot of us go through because we have to be silent, because we know it is important to be silent about a lot of things. That's why I have never said anything about a lot of things I've been through, because I know it's more important to not spread what people have spread to me for some type of vendetta or some type of revenge, because we all know that that's not worth it. But for me, the principle of a lot of these things that I have talked about needed to be vocalized in this video. And that goes into being a professional and growing in a way that makes sense for everybody around you, in a way that will allow your career to expand and find the right people, and those people that do have the same visions as you, the same intentions as you, the same goals as you as far as what you want to achieve in your purpose in life. Only reason I fuck with people like Taste, the only reason I fuck with the clients that I fuck with, and the only reason I fuck with my friends and personal relationships in my life is because we share the same energy. We share the same intentions. We share the same mission in a very humble way, where we know that it's not really about us, it's about everybody else in the community, holding that responsibility in a professional way, because we know that if we do that, if we handle ourselves properly, if we move with proper intentions, and if we're real about our experiences as much as we can, the better images we will have in the world, the better the world will see us, the more respect and opportunities we will achieve, the more we will be able to get into these venues and do these things. And being a pioneer in that has always been a mission for me, because that is the most fulfilling for me. I feel so fulfilled knowing that people have found the love of their life, people have had the best time of their life, people's visions have come to life because of me, people's fantasies have come to life because of me, people have seen true, genuine connections through my connections, and seen real, genuine love and purity in people that look like me. But the roles that I do have in our community and the positions I have taken on are no means easy at all, are no means meant for everybody. And the more that I do it, the more I feel I need to speak about it, because a lot of people don't speak about what we really go through. There's so much more I could put in this video about specifics, but generally, this is what the problem is. And the solution for all of this is to be more genuine, more grounded, more humane in moving about how you do things, and knowing there's a time and a place for everything, and knowing how to respect other people's time and energy and company by handling your own emotions and your own personal experience professionally, and to take on your role that you preach so hard about and hold so highly about yourself in a way that shows people that you can have people follow you in a way that you are a leader, in a way that they can lean on you and trust you and feel safe in being who they are around you, instead of feel dictated or feeling invalidated in their emotions or feeling like they don't matter. Because the clout, like I said, is a drug, and it can really influence people to think that they are better than other people, and that the person that is helping them make this content does not deserve the treatment that they receive on the other end of that camera. And as much shit that's been dumped on me over the years, going through that, I'm so grateful for it, because if I didn't have that and I jumped into this world as like a viral influencer or something, which a lot of us jump into this world as, you don't have a base to go back and lean on or any type of real support to support you. You were just launched into this world and you have to learn how to deal with it as it's happening. I still have to learn how to deal with a lot of things I go through as it's happening, but because of all the experience and all the shit that was thrown at me and all the stuff I went to in Fearless and learned from it and went forward with it, I feel very, very confident no matter what I go through or what I experience. And as shitty as things can be, I still feel very grounded and feel very centered in the most chaotic times at all times. All of the years of so many different responsibilities of other people happening at the same time laid on you, you're forced with nothing else. I wouldn't say necessarily that any of this is healthy, but the show must go on. I found so much beauty in this industry. I found so much fulfillment and joy and life in this community. I would never live my life any other way. I just want people to know that it is not butterflies and rainbows all the time. And in no way do I take any of this for granted, and in no way do I ever want to treat people the way I've been treated ever. Our community has a lot of work we need to do individually in order for us to be good collectively. And like I say in all my videos, it starts with us. This is another part of it. If you feel like you identify with any of those things I talked about, I really encourage you to find ways to ground yourself, to find ways to meditate in the middle of the fucking club, in the middle of times where things feel like they're going to shit, to find ways to find peace and to always find solutions when you feel like you can't. Don't ever give up on things or people unless you tried many routes and you've given people chances and you really have the benefit of the doubt with a lot of people, and not to be so cutthroat, because every queer person in this world is very unique and very special in their own way. Just because the grass might be greener on the other side with other things, you will never find that same thing within that person that you just cut off. Like I've given us grace throughout this whole video that we are women and that we're emotional and that we have our things. I think we should always be giving each other that grace in a very professional way. And in doing that, I think our spaces and the people who curate these spaces and how we move will move a lot better. I'm sorry, y'all, it was a heavy one, but I love you guys. I really do. I'm so appreciative for every single person who's ever watched anything that I ever produced, whoever's talked to me, whatever. Always grateful, forever in gratitude, and always want to continue to express that and be about that for real. Because if you met me, you know. And if I've ever given you a experience that I've ever shown you differently, I would love for you to tell me, because I am not anybody else than what you really see here. Like, this is me, I'm real. This is J. Killem. I love you guys. Till next time.